Peace and positive. This is Amelia A. Otto, aka Emily MC, author of Y'all Not Gonna Make Me Lose My Mind. And today's topic is on technology, social media, hip hop's influence in digital evolution, and the impact of technology on mental health. Now, before we get into some clips from the global community, we're looking at the good, bad, ugly, indifferent, and opportunities brought on by advancements in technology and digital tools in society. Not being scared of it, not obsessively embracing it, but understanding its utility, power, and impact when using it and when not using it. Now, for some reason, I can remember being a child and seeing a poster somewhere about different kinds of depression that stayed with me because I'd never thought about them before. Now, 3 stood out specifically. Seasonal depression, as in because of shorter, darker, and colder days in the winter months. Age-related depression about feeling helpless and less valuable, getting older, and the generational whiplash of it all. And what inspired today's episode piqued my interest the most: technological depression. This is states of sadness, burnout, isolation, or mental illness brought on by overwhelming feelings of technological innovation in society, excessive screen time, and lack of connection. According to a 2023 study titled "Increasing Digitalization is Associated with Anxiety and Depression," quote, "The rapid spread of new technologies often leads to digital isolation and the loss of community. People feel disconnected and powerless as algorithms and automation take over aspects of daily life. This gap between rapid technological change and the human brain's ability to adapt results in the widespread anxiety and emotional depression often seen in modern societies," end quote. Now, the study added a great point about thinly stretched mental health resources stretched even thinner by the COVID-19 global pandemic, noting, quote, "This makes it easy to understand why with the aggressive push, promotion, marketing, and accessibility of AI tools, many have turned to AI for healthcare and mental health support, though this isn't always constructive or helpful," end quote. Still, there have been many positive uses of it, even if they're not getting as much visibility. A lot more Black, women, and hip-hop technologists have been highlighting and innovating media tech for communal wellness, connecting positive dots, creating businesses, and healthy skill building. But with all that said, that doesn't make the fear, anxiety, hesitation, skepticism, and mistrust of technology any less valid or unreasonable, especially for the so-called marginalized, underrepresented, underpaid, underemployed, and, as award-winning journalist, podcast producer, public speaker, consultant, and advocate for hip-hop culture Manny Faces calls it, the underloved communities. Now, according to 2024 findings by the Equal Employment Opportunities Commission shared by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association, Black people remain underrepresented in the tech industry, making up roughly 7% of the high-tech workforce. Now, this is lower than their share of the total U.S. workforce. In comparison, Hispanic professionals make up about 8 to 10%, while Asian professionals are highly represented at 20 to 30% of the tech sector, which is 3 times their share of the total U.S. workforce. Now, you can see a deeper dive of these numbers in the Caper Center's State of Tech Diversity, the Black Tech Ecosystem Report, or the NAACP. And to put all that in perspective, because it's not just about the numbers, but the story we could tell from the numbers. According to 2025 Diversity in Tech Statistics by Demographics and Facts by Saizuman Ravankar and Rohan Jambel, quote, "Technology is transforming the way we live, work, and connect, but is it providing everyone with a fair shot? Although the tech world leads in innovation, it still lacks diversity in areas such as race, gender, age, and background. This gap doesn't just hurt job seekers, it also impacts how products are developed, how teams operate, and how effectively companies perform," end quote. Now, this is not even mentioning the environmental impact of increasing technology that goes far beyond the digital divide that started decades ago, and also the individuals and communities with little to no access to tools for digital literacy, as well as the employment and wealth gaps in the professional tech industries. But with all this happening, Mother Nature is feeling the squeeze and imbalances just as much as many of us are. According to a 2025 write-up by MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, titled "Explained: Generative AI's Environmental Impact," quote, "Rapid development and deployment of powerful generative AI models comes with environmental consequences, including increased electricity demand and water consumption," end quote. Now, seeing the rapid increase of large, loud, and destructive AI data centers and scaled back environmental regulations in the US just in this year alone has been a little scary, not gonna lie. But speaking of AI, We're now technologically light years ahead of our predecessors just a century ago, yet somehow are still early in the future we're marching towards. As noted by Clemson University's Provost Sheila R. Cotton's article titled, "Is Technology Use Leading to the Demise of Our Mental Health and Well-Being?" We're still early and should not indulge in, quote, technological determinism, end quote, or the belief that technology itself is resulting in either positive or negative outcomes in society, that it's our use and types of use to really look at. And with that said, by the way, many link the rise of social media, digital devices, and increased screen time around the year 2010 with the similar or correlated rise in mental illness since, including Dr. Jean M. Twenge's 2020 scholarly write-up titled "Increases in Depression, Self-Harm, and Suicide Among U.S. Adolescents After 2012 and Links to Technology Use, Possible Mechanisms." But in this time, we've seen, or not even noticed, the rise of things like computer vision, optical character recognition, OCR, voice and facial recognition, cryptocurrency, and Bitcoin as emerging technologies shaping a lot of modern life in response to an innovation of the past. This is alongside medical diagnosis for mental health recognized by the American Psychological Association and other entities who have a growing concern over things like compulsive web use, cyber relationship addiction, cyberchondria, internet gambling disorder, FOMO, fear of missing out, and AI psychosis. With more turning to tech and AI to process emotional health, energetic consciousness, moral and ethical dilemmas, knowing yourself, getting to know yourself, understanding boundaries, basic sense, context, nuance, and critical thinking are even more important to have an idea of before and while diving in. In the corporate world, they say, verify, 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 with your use of AI tools in administrative, research, reporting, and production tasks. Well, in our personal lives and careers, we must now also verify, 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 and sharpen our human instincts to mentally, psychologically, and spiritually lead AI, and not have it leading us into danger, untruths, breaches of safety, or privacy. And as far as hip-hop, make no mistake that we've been on this ride all along, as not only its soundtrack, but its innovators, from 2 turntables and a microphone to NFT artists and crypto business deals. Hip-hop culture and its people are pioneers in media tech and gave birth to widespread use for even more than music. Hip-hop has been a part of, if not spearheaded, innovation in every phase of the digital eras, from creating and sampling analog music, to the physical media supremacy, to the download era and websites like DatPiff etching the legacy of mixtapes, to Soulja Boy becoming a millionaire off ringtones, to artists creating unique social media platform waves from MySpace to Twitter and Snapchat, to DJ D-Nice's Club Quarantine and Versus creating new lanes for virtual community and legacy artists through a global pandemic and beyond. Now, we talked a little bit about AI and its impact on human creativity in the Day 20 Why Your Creativity is Intelligence and Therapy episode, and I encourage that watch after this. But this episode is for diving into those points a lot more. Because when you think about it, we're not even 100 years into the technological advancement which put communication and human experiences at our fingertips. The technology of today is being seen as just as pivotal as electricity, the printing press, and the landline telephone in global human history, which is crazy and seems truer by the day. But what about its effect on human beings' mental health and wellness? So this is for the damage done and the greatness to come. This is for the women and youth in STEM making new waves. This is for hip-hop and creative entrepreneurs being unafraid, bridging the gaps, trying new things, and staying at the forefront. And this is for the fact that in every generation since like the 1950s, it seems like the grown-ups were right. It's indeed always something with that damn phone. Now, if you're following along with my original book, this is the Day 28 quote from pages 114 to 115. And based on today's topic, here is prompt number 29. Thank you all for your support of Y'all Not Gonna Make Me Lose My Mind. And without further ado, let's roll the clips and hear from the global community about technology, social media, digital tools, and how innovation is impacting our quality of life, mental health, and wellness. Peace.
Working in tech is such a mindfuck right now because every day you go to work and you're like, I'm a boss lady, I'm doing so good. And then later you're like, I'm definitely getting laid off today. And then later you leave work and you walk to the train and there's homeless people literally sleeping on the street. You're like, fuck, I have it good. And then you get off the train and you go home and you're like, AI is going to take my job today. It's just like round and round every day.
You use AI. I honestly think that distances women from money, I have a problem with. Right? It is so important as women that we need to be early adopters of technology. Early adopters of technology. It's very important. Early. Women have taste, resourceful. Women have good judgment. Women have expertise. So you need to be adopting technology early. It's very important, and to leverage those opportunities. If you look at individuals, and there's a trend, when you look across individuals who've been able to build wealth, they were early adopters. This is one of the differences also about youth and age. Okay, now these things don't always matter, but one thing that is true is that when you're younger, you do not.
These women are building more than just apps. They're using technology to reimagine what mental health support actually looks like. At age 14, Sophie created a chatbot aimed to help teens challenge negative self-talk.
She walked into my office recently and she said, "Mom, I've been working on something and I want to show it to you."
We built a positive affirmations AI chatbot.
Would you like to get started? Getting to know you, affirmations, or boundaries/rules?
This platform offers positive affirmations and support around setting healthy boundaries. After her father passed away, Christina Jones wanted to create a system of support for other children. This inspired her to create Guardian Lane, a digital platform that uses things like music, art, and movement therapy to help young children process grief. After fostering over 40 children, Michelle Turner saw firsthand how difficult it was for youth to access mental health care. She created Here Now Health, a virtual healthcare platform that uses technology to organize medical records, helping foster families connect to help faster. Now that's what I call tech for good.
700,000 Black women are going to learn to code because of me. But let me explain. My name is Christine. I wrote a book called Code Like a Cutie, and it's a vibe coding workbook that teaches women and girls how to build apps with AI. Because right now, Black women make up less than 3% of the tech industry, and women of color are burning out at higher rates than almost every other group in the workforce. So my mission? To help Black women feel confident in themselves through tech, not just by using it, but by building with it. Because when you can build your own thing, nobody gets to tell you what you're worth. And that's why I'm creating Shameless, a mental health and self-care app built specifically for women of color. Because when the wellness app market is worth over $7 billion, but almost none of it was designed with us in mind, Shameless should change that. Giving you healing content that looks like you, speaks like you, and meets you exactly where you are.
It's extremely common nowadays to see people texting and doing selfies and communicating in various ways, listening to podcasts, listening to music, doing all sorts of things while they engage in other activities, or going to dinner and texting other people, or making plans, sharing information. That's all wonderful. It gives depth and richness and color to life. But it isn't just about our distracted nature when we're engaging with the phone. It's also a way of layering in dopamine. And it's no surprise that levels of depression and lack of motivation are really on the increase. Interacting with digital technology can potentially lead to disruptions or lowering in baseline levels of dopamine.
And it's not a coincidence that we see rising rates of depression, anxiety, suicide, especially in younger generations. So, it's not causal, but there's definitely a correlation. It reminds me of when, and I'm old enough for this, some of your listeners are not, but I remember when the internet showed up and e-commerce started. And I remember some of the people who were really into the tech running around thinking, this is the death of bricks and mortars. There will never be stores again. And now Amazon opens stores and Rent the Runway opens stores. And turns out the extremes are not great places. It's not the death.
If you're ever wondering why you're anxious, depressed, and unhappy, maybe the rectangle in technology in your pocket has something to do with it. If you look it up, there's almost a direct correlation to the implementation of iPhones and social media, where those were on the upswing, and then depression and anxiety went right along with it. And along with that, anything new tech, whether it's a phone or AI or any of that bullshit, is touted as the best thing. Oh my God, it's so great. Meanwhile, we're losing our fucking minds, literally. You know, instead of things like raising human consciousness and more awareness and more happiness, we just get more fucking toys.
The one place where we actually know that illness is growing and at an astronomical rate, actually, like a really, really scary rate, is mental illness.
Why?
One is that I think we have a whole-scale negative effect of technology. So there's tons of studies that show that basically the number of hours that you're on social media correlates with worsening mood, worsening anxiety, body image issues, things like that. There may be other things going on too, which I'm pretty sure there are. But I'd say that's the biggest thing, is that we have this very, very pervasive influence on our mind, which I think the average person in the United States uses a cell phone for 4 hours and 37 minutes a day. That number I think is actually low.
I was going to say, that seems low.
Yeah, so I think that's the average person, right? So I think the upper limits of like studies look at 6 hours, 6.5 hours. So I think we're having these influences on our mind. We don't really know what it's doing to us. And it's creating a lot of FOMO. Like we have all this language for it, right? FOMO and things like that. These are new problems, imposter syndrome, burnout. These are all on the rise.
And I took a break from social media because it was causing me it was really like causing depression.
Why depression?
Because comparison is the killer of all joy. When you look at it, I was looking at, for me, I can't say nobody else. Y'all might be way stronger than me, you know what I'm saying? But me, I'm a normal person. I never see myself in my greatness. But all people do is post their highlight reels. And I'm comparing my real life to somebody's highlight reel. Of course, comparison is the killer of all joy.
Honestly, it's kind of depressing.
It's basically just a waste of time.
It's the doom scrolling. That would ruin my day.
You've probably already made up your mind about social media and what it's doing to your mental health. But if you look at the science, the jury is still out. Researchers know there's a link between social media use and low mood. What they don't know is whether social media is causing it. So we're asking you.
It'll make you insecure. Always wanting more is not always better. It can ruin you.
It like puts stereotypical ideas into your head.
Whenever I see my friends like abroad or something, they're having lots of fun. I'm like, oh, what am I doing?
I got rid of Snapchat, Instagram, everything, TikTok. You get bullied at school and then you get bullied at home.
Year 7. Like, if you're in primary school, you shouldn't be on social media. Like, what are you doing?
Probably like 14, 15.
I think 16 is a good age.
Like, if I was her parent, I would be like, oh, 16.
Prime Minister, he thinks you should be 16 to be allowed
16? It's a bit old.
I think 16 is a valid age.
I think 16 is a bit too old. You already have a lot of friends and you want to socialize with them.
When you're 16, I think you have the maturity to, understand what's wrong, what's right.
I would definitely agree with increasing the age.
Some of y'all are depressed because you don't talk to people. You haven't talked to a person in months. And I'm not talking about through text. I'm not talking about some random messaging. I'm not even talking about on his phone, because this phone is a false idea of what it is to socialize in this world. Y'all be talking to people through a screen. Y'all be yelling and being argumentative, thinking that you're having conversation and meeting engagement. You're not. You go outside and what the kids say, touch grass, have real conversations. So today, and I do this quite often, and it's always so refreshing. But today, it was unexpected because today I was working an event for an organization that I'm a part of. So I'm facilitating this event. And most of what I did today was just talking to people, having conversations, whatever. And I'm an introvert. I'm saying this as an introvert. So please don't get on here talking about my introversion, girl. Shh. I'm an introvert. I promise you. I know I talk on this app a lot, but in real life, I really don't say too much unless it's something meaningful or I'm really engaged in a conversation. And today was a lot of that. So I find value in connecting with people. And one conversation in particular was with somebody that I have known since I was a child. And we've reconnected like in passing throughout our lives. But this was the first time that I really had a chance to talk to this person in depth. And we talked for a really long time. I wasn't in my phone. I really wasn't on my phone for most of the day anyway. Wasn't in my phone, wasn't distracted. It was just meaningful conversation. And it was something that was so refreshing because I wasn't thinking about anything else except the conversations that I was having with this person, with other people, the engagements that I was having. And I think that although it doesn't solve your problems, because obviously you still have whatever the issues are that you're going through, it is just one aspect of real life that we are constantly moving farther and farther away from. We do everything through a screen. We do everything electronically. We're starting to almost have a disdain for dealing with people. And it's making us suffer. It's making us depressed. And we're thinking that it's all these other things. You think it's because you don't have money. You think it's because of whatever else you want to make up in your head. And it can be in part because of those things. But human connection, y'all, we are not meant to live in isolation and never, ever, ever talk to anyone. And I've said before that there are periods of isolation. There are times when you need to go off and be by yourself and figure things out. But you're not meant to be by yourself forever. We are communal. You're depressed because you're living like the Grinch. You hate everyone. You hate everything. You have to stop. Give yourself permission to go outside, experience life, and just deal with people, because that is part of the human experience. You cannot escape that. And the more you try to escape that and clam up, everybody's not going to always relate to you, but you have to find that human connection no matter what that looks like. And you have to put yourself out there to be able to have these conversations and to be able to engage with other people. You're probably just seeking human connection without the filter of a screen.
You're not depressed because you're online. You're depressed because of how you're online. Let me explain. You know the feeling when you put your phone down and you feel like you got hit by a Mack truck? Most of us blame that on, I was online too long. But this new study that came out of Cambridge, like new, released February 23rd new, showed that that's not actually what is hurting you. What they did was study real people's smartphone behavior and how they moved between apps in a single session, what they call an app journey. And what predicted worse depression and anxiety was not the amount of time they were online. It was how scattered that time online was. Think of two versions of you. In one, you spend 60 minutes deep diving into something you love, a long form video, an article, a rabbit hole you chose to go down. For me, that is organizing my entire life in Notion. You usually don't walk away from that feeling empty. In the other, it is 30 minutes of chaos. TikTok, then Gmail, then Instagram, then Reddit, then Tinder, Hinge, and Bumble. What? Back to Instagram again. Same device, less time, but you still leave feeling behind and a little disgusted with yourself. The researchers found that people who bounce between more unrelated apps in a single session had higher symptoms of depression, anxiety, and lower attentional control. And the people whose sessions were more modular, focused in one cluster of apps instead of random hopping, tended to have better mental health. So good news. The damage isn't necessarily time online. The damage is more likely to happen when you use scattered scrolling to regulate uncomfortable feelings like boredom, loneliness, that 3 p.m. crash, or whatever feeling that brought you to this video right now. Gotcha. Your phone is the thing that you grab to feel anything else instead of choosing to feel something on purpose. And this is why you are never going to hear me say I am chronically offline, because my goal isn't just to try to be on my phone less. My goal is to be more intentional with the time that I do spend on it. I use Opal to add friction when I'm on my phone. It blocks my automatic desire to click on something I don't need to click on and forces a tiny moment of intention before I go from, oh, I just need to check one thing, to a full-blown app spiral. There is no such thing as a perfect screen time number. Fix that complicated relationship by putting intention behind every pickup, and your brain will thank you. You can screenshot this board in 3, 2, 1.
Live life like it's 2010. Let me explain. So depression and anxiety have been on the rise ever since like 2011, 2012, which is coincidentally, generally speaking, when social media was invented. So I think that the reason that mental health is declining is because of technology. So one way to combat that is like, just try and live how you would in 2010. I'm not saying to delete social media. Like clearly I'm using it right now, right? But you can use it to your advantage by thinking about like, what aspects of it would you have access to in 2010? Okay, so in 2010, you could have recorded videos, right? You couldn't post them, but like you could record them. So like, spending a good amount of your time recording videos rather than scrolling on the app might be beneficial to you, because that was a time period when people had good mental health. Because here's the thing, like things have become so easy. Now is the easiest time in history to distract yourself. And it's because these things are so convenient. They're so easy to use. Like if social media made you wait an hour before you opened it, you probably wouldn't use it that much, right? Because you wouldn't want to sit there and wait for an hour. Back in 2010, a lot of things that you wanted were at least harder to get. Like let's say you wanted to like have some sort of social connection. Now you could just open up social media. Back in 2010, yeah, you could text or call someone, which takes a little bit more effort. But generally speaking, you would leave your house, like go play a sport, meet new people, talk to people. And that takes significantly more effort than scrolling on social media. So I think like two important questions to ask yourself if you're trying to improve your mental health are like, one, are the things I'm doing too easy for me? Two, could I somehow live in a way that like this technology doesn't exist in my life, or at least is very limited?
If you got a vision and you got something you want to accomplish, you know that you can't go ghost on social media. You got to be there. We all gonna feel burnout at some point, and those points is gonna make us feel like I don't want to do anything. I don't want to film. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to leave my house. Even if you got content ready, you don't want to post on social media. You got to understand that those is a part of the game. Sometimes for your mental health, you feel like, damn, I need to go ghost.
Google this shit, nigga. You right now. Google it. You'll see electromagnetic spectrum. And you'll see that right in the smack of all this color and information is RGB. And RGB is what you see through your eyes, this equipment. the body. You could harness the power of radio. That's also color. And there's an industry that's sitting on top of that, which is spectrum. And 103.7 Kiss FM is on radio waves. Radio waves is on the other side of spectrum. So to them, they're right. I don't know shit about hip hop, that particular hip hop, because I don't care that much about that type of hip hop. Now, Heavy D, I love Heavy D. That's hip hop too. So is Kid and Play. So is MC Hammer. And there's people like, MC Hammer ain't hip hop. Okay, cool. To you, it's not. To me, it is. Yeah. And everybody, we diminish the power of what hip hop actually is by only saying it's RGB. Yep. Hip hop is fucking X-ray. You can see through shit. Hip hop is fucking microwave. You could cook shit from the inside. Hip hop is fucking radio. You could broadcast shit. Hip hop is fucking technology. If you don't believe me, don't sweat the technique. Hip hop is 2 turntables and a microphone. Hip hop is samplers. It's MPC C63000, Sakai, it's SP1200. The fact that we don't make our own equipment, thank you, Dr. Dre, hip hop is fucking technology.
This is the power that we have, the power of leadership, because we're the original people. Fathers of civilization, scientists of life, the true master builders. We the Masons before the Masons was calling themselves Masons. Mm-hmm. We invented psychology, mathematics, all that shit. So this is why in hip hop is so impactful, because we created that shit. Anything we create, right, has leadership, qualities. So like I said, hip hop turns the culture into systems. Those systems have the power to shape how we talk, how we think, how we consume, how we feel, and how we behave. But tech companies, tech platforms monetize it. And then in some cases they weaponize it. Right? They monetize it and they weaponize it. So they make money off of us, and then they weaponize the tools that we use to make them money. Hip hop becoming like a digital version of crack, used to break down the subconscious minds of our younger generation. Yeah. My last point of that is it's a revision now, because the old power structure was record labels and radio. The new power structure is algorithms and streaming payouts.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So when we start to understand this game and develop skills to be the best players in that game, ain't nobody gonna be able to play with us.
A lot of tech bros really like hip hop and rap. And as someone who likes some of those artists and also works at the front lines of tech, working with founders and at a major VC firm, I want to talk about some reasons why, because it's not as obvious as it might seem. So at first, you're probably like, what do these people have in common? Obviously, they're all rich, and some of them are legitimately friends just because they're in these rich circles. I think that is part of it. But I think let's talk about the song Otis from Jay-Z and Kanye West, which is one of my favorite Jay-Z songs. I've shared before that I'm a Jay-Z fan. At the beginning of the song, Jay-Z talks a lot about wealth and certain, flashy things he's buying. He talks about watches like Hublots and Rolex watches. When I was younger, I don't think I totally understood the significance of some of those references to wealth in rap and hip hop. And I was just like, oh, I guess those guys really like jewelry and like talking about that. But as I've gotten older, I've realized what is a bit deeper behind it, and maybe it's obvious to people who are people of color. Later in Otis, Jay-Z raps the following: driving Benzes with no benefits, not bad, huh, for some immigrants. Build your fences, we dig in tunnels, can't you see we getting money up under you? A lot of the times references in rap and hip hop to wealth, again, it's probably obvious to people of color, but it's something that took me a while to learn. It's not about just owning those things. It's about overcoming massive challenges to own those things, and often being shut out of systems that are designed to mostly give wealth to certain people, and finding a way around that to actually get access to those societies and that wealth for yourself. Now, many tech bros are white, so that is something to think about. But I do think that they are drawing inspiration a lot of times from this idea of getting wealth and having access to things that they wouldn't have had access to otherwise, because there is a large contingent of founders, especially the ones that I work with, that are immigrants themselves. And they are coming over with an idea of what it is to build and what it is to achieve something and have a successful exit, maybe give that money back to their families. So there definitely is that contingent of, this wasn't possible for people like me, and I'm going to make it possible through my own effort. So yeah, there's a lot of crossover, and I think a lot of it is because founders and people in tech are seeing themselves in these lyrics that are about overcoming what seemed impossible and getting out on the other side, which is an amazing life full of I guess, wealth and also success.
The tech talk, I was listening to Illmatic this morning, the tech talk has kind of replaced the drug talk. Are there parallels between the two? And if we're in the music business as an artist, are we in the tech business by default?
We're in the tech business because it's a reality that it's not open to, it's not open to the hood. So it's important if the world's moving in a certain direction, technology's moving in a certain direction, that needs to be a real thing in the hood. It shouldn't just be looked at as something that's out of reach. Like so many things have been looked at like they were out of reach for us. We have to make sure we're involved. Just as a technology, I see it's out of here. So these are things that the hood needs to be learning about how to get into. So let's make that as hot as a brick.
But just cryptocurrency is, I think it's like a form of karma. I think that the banks had such a crooked model that the engineers and software designers and programmers was like, we're not gonna fix this with a protest. We're not gonna fix this with a march on Wall Street. We're gonna fix this with technology. And they created a equalizer that just, it checkmated the whole game. You know, that's my view on it. It's just like the energy balancing out what went wrong over there, and just the disadvantage that the people were at. The cryptocurrency is balancing that out, or will in the long run. It's gonna take a while, but it's gonna create an option, and you're not gonna have to go operate in that system that led to like 2008, all the banks collapsing and the real estate bubble and all the malpractice of power that, you know, was happening in the banking industry and the central banks and all that. Mm-hmm. So it's like, damn, that was slick. Whoever came up with that was slick. If you really peep it from a political point of view, you know what I mean? That was real effortless checkmate. You know what I mean? They exited before anybody knew what was up. There's less than 1% penetration, and that's a fact because I can't spend Bitcoin here. I gotta still spend US dollars or MasterCard credit or, you know, established credit. Any one of these stores, there's no penetration in the real world. But there's a $27 to $800,000 increase in investment in this space. But there's a 1% penetration in the real world. So what happens when it gets 5% real world? When more people can spend their cryptocurrency at the store, at the restaurant, on the airplane, which is why we came to Amsterdam, because there's a city out here where the whole city is cryptocurrency friendly. And this is an example of what's gonna happen to the rest of the world.
I know what my job is, and I know what their job is. If everybody do their job, we good.
Yeah.
Everybody gonna be good. And so I'm focused on my job. And to know that the people that's, you know, the partners, they wake up every day, they focus on their job.
Yeah.
So we good. I don't got no other expectations. I'm gonna do my job, you do yours, we gonna be solid. Clearly they doing theirs. You feel me? So we good.
It's a lot of reasons that, you know, political reasons why it's a big thing, and there's financial reasons why it's a big thing, you know, and even like on a simple level of like sending money overseas or something, to be able to do that peer-to-peer and not have no middleman with a fee, and with a policy, it's just a direct transaction that's, you know, regulated by a public ledger. That's a big innovation if you understand like banking and PayPal and all that type of shit. You know, somebody told me that it's like what the internet was in like the early 90s. And think about what that turned into and all the billion-dollar businesses that was built off of that. That's like what the cryptocurrency, blockchain opportunity is similar to. So it'll take a while before we see it mature and really turn into what it can potentially be.
Right.
My challenge to myself was to not be influenced by the threat of failing and not doing it. I wanted to do it my way, and I was willing and I was cool with it not working. If I couldn't have it my way, I was cool with it not working. Cause I didn't want to have no constellation prizes.
Everything don't go in one direction. Yeah. Always, it be ups and downs in any game. So when you're doing well, and you got a surplus or an overload of resources, instead of investing it all back into the same situation, take some of it and start something else up. You know, so that God forbid when this slow down, you know, this will keep you afloat. Yeah. And then when this slow down, this will be back revenue.
Technology is a big one. I've talked to my good friends at Breakbeat Code about the way that they do an afternoon workshop for young kids, 12 to 18 years old. And in 4 hours, kids that have never even known that computer programming was a thing have now understood the basics of computer programming. Why? Because they learned it by making beats. Because there's a bunch of musics on the side and you got to pull from the repository of loops and drum loops and samples and put them on top of each other and layer them like a producer does and make these dope beats. But you can't drag and drop. No, you got to program it. You got to call it with programming language. And in 4 hours, these kids go to 0 to 100 in terms of computer programming out of the gate. Hip hop and technology. I do an entire keynote talk about it. I've consulted with technology companies about how you can use hip hop in an authentic way. And I say use, but not abuse. In an authentic way. Connect with communities. Bring in innovators from communities that are traditionally underserved in the tech community. Come on, man. Only like 6%, 7% of the entire tech industry are Black or Hispanic. Maybe even the numbers are lower. But I'll give you an hour-long keynote and blow your mind about all the ways that hip-hop folk have innovated technologically, have innovated technology through the years. So why aren't they working for you? Why aren't you bringing them into the mix? It doesn't make any sense. Don't you want to succeed? Don't you want to bring new innovation? Don't you want to help those communities strive? It doesn't make any sense. My man Darrell Booker, though, up at Microsoft, does a really good job of keeping his hip-hop sensibilities, working with communities, working with nonprofits. He's the corporate affairs specialist at Microsoft, a big dog in the nonprofit sector. Microsoft has a whole foundation and a whole nonprofit sector. And again, we don't always love corporations and what they do to hip-hop. We don't always love what, the capitalist system does with hip-hop. But they exist, and we want to make sure that, folks are doing the best they can with what they're given in these corporate structures. We can certainly use the corporate resources. We could certainly use corporations like Microsoft to go into communities that are underserved, under-resourced, and often underloved, and provide resources that those community members might not have had access to. So when they do that, we want to, big them up.
AI can't replace human beings like that. I just want to pull that out there straight away. It's like the human condition, the human kindness, how we live. We don't need anything to replicate that. Nothing can replicate that. And I think it all comes down to things that enhance or help in certain situations. I'm never against things entirely, but it has its place, and it needs to stay in that place. It's when it's used in a dangerous manner, I think. It can be used as a weapon. It can be used to replace people and eradicate people. And that's where I'm like, I draw the line there for sure. Yeah. And obviously, like you see from the show, it goes wrong.
Yeah, like AI technology is like information. People get information. You can use it for good. You can use it for bad. Like how do you use the information? What's your character? Who are you as a human being? A lot of us use social media for good things. And some we use social media for just to bring others down. It's like, who are you as a person? I think like before you get any device, like you want to know who you are, and then you get the device, and then you use it in the way that you need to, because obviously AI has done a lot of things, benefited a lot of people in health, and health awareness. And, shoot, at this point, like even as an artist, we've used, technology to advance. Like I'm a hip hop artist too. Like, so we've used different things to program and but you still got to have the soul and the creativity as the human being to even utilize that AI to make it something new and fresh. Because if anybody that doesn't have the talent ain't gonna be able to just go to the AI and do something new and nice with it. So I think, as to what Alex said, you still gotta have humanity in all that we're doing. And we shouldn't let AI be the leader. We the leaders, and let's use it in the most positive ways, in the good ways.
On the app, you could take your mouse pad and scroll up to the word sync, click on it, and now you don't have to use your ear to mix two songs together. The app is mixing for you. And when you're learning, quote unquote, that way, you're under the illusion that you're DJing. You're not really DJing. And so I am thankful that I came up in the era that I did with actual turntables and needles and pitch styles and having to develop the instincts it takes to DJ, because that's what it's about. It's all instincts.
Yep.
It's not something that you look at a computer to verify what you should be doing. You have to have the instinct to guide you and navigate through sound and songs, you know? And the digital era that we live in now with regards to DJing is omitting that. Like, it's allowing people to skip over that important process.
Right, which is very important.
It's like someone is really DJ AI. Right,
that's coming.
Yeah, AI.
It's not here already.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Well, it is in a way when things mix together as well as dropping in.
Yeah, when you think about it, the sync button in Serato DJ is artificial intelligence.
It is, yeah.
It's programmed. A coder in Simi Valley programmed that app to do that work for you.
Wow.
Work that in the 1970s, when this art was being developed and pioneered by guys like Bambaataa, Grandmaster Flash, and Kool Herc, and Grand Wizard Theodore, and Jazzy J, and Tony Tone, and Charlie Chase, and the list goes on and on. David Mancuso, who wasn't necessarily a hip-hop DJ. He was more in the club scene.
Yeah.
And threw parties in his apartment, and they called it the Loft. Or Francis Grazzo, a guy that was in the clubs, mixing records in the early 70s. These were techniques that you cultivated by developing your ear, and that has been completely omitted. And so now everyone steps into the scene, right, the platform of DJing, and you can't differentiate one DJ from the next because there's no personality to your mixing, because you never cultivated your ear. Everyone sounds the same because everyone has the same gear that does the work for you.
Same with producers. You can't really
tell
identify who's producing what. Like a certain period, you knew the producer just from the sound of the music.
Just from the sound.
And you don't hear that. And then again, based on what Rob said, even the software, you have softwares that will dictate the key, tempo, pitch, things that you had to naturally have. That would make you unique to other DJs, that you could just hear something and say, I know what that is. I know what key that is. This record's in the same key. You know the blends are going to be seamless. Now you got software doing that for you. So, I mean, I don't want to say it's a bad thing. If you're walking around touting, beating yourself on the chest, saying I'm this grand, great master DJ because AI is doing all the work, sit down.
Yeah.
But if someone has stripes, you're in the business and you're just making it easy for yourself, you don't want to carry 20 crates of records, it helps you while you're performing, that's a great thing. You're using technology to your benefit, doing what you need to do. But I just can't stand behind anyone who's taking a shortcut.
Technology is at hip-hop's base, right? Because unlike any other music, it took a turntable to be able to create hip-hop.
Scratching the record just for the best part, just for the break. Samplings, when we just started sampling a piece of the song, so we didn't have to grab the break anymore, we could just make a machine do it. All of that says to me, you give somebody talented nothing, and they can make something out of it.
1998, we decided to step away from the major corporation. So we felt that we can tighten up and build an infrastructure that would service us in the realm of the internet, which was rather new to the entertainment business at the time.
2002, Absolute Power album. We're so sure about good product, and you let people hear it before it comes out, they will still support it. It was the FTI movement. It stood for Fuck the Industry.
The thing that makes it so magical is because we're all coming together around the time when, like, communication was more accessible. MySpace was a way to connect.
It was just like ground roots promoting, just like using your friends as your advantage, like using them to help you spread the word.
Blogs were just starting, but like the blog coverage was a result of internet music becoming a thing now.
The first song that ever went up on the internet was called the Come Up Freestyle. The first people to ever post anything of mine. Before I even knew what the hell was going on, post this, blog that, I didn't know what the fuck that was.
Blogs are the new mixtapes. If you want to hear new music, you don't wait for a new DJ to drop a mixtape with 20 new tracks or 30 new tracks and exclusives. You just go to Nah Right. You go to Two Dope Boys. You go to On Smash.
Everybody that I ever met in rap history was through the internet. Currency, I met him through the internet as well.
We've been around, it's just that the world caught up to the web, you know what I'm saying, to the internet, and they really, and they saw that there's a lot of music floating around on the internet, a lot of people building buzzes.
Tumblr's huge now. People are Tumblr famous. Kids sitting at home will know who all these people are, and nobody else will. We used it to our advantage.
One more time, if you love being alive, say, I love being alive. I love being alive. Yeah, man, it's dope as fuck right now, man. We in this new technology era, you feel me? It's like, man, we really in the future, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, like, congratulations, everybody. We in the future right now.
Hip-hop's relationship with technology has never been about riding the wave. It's about creating it. Think back to how Soulja Boy turned YouTube into his launch pad, or Lil Wayne and DJ Drama's mixtapes redefined DatPiff. And let's not forget how DJ Khaled became the biggest creator on Snapchat. These artists didn't just use platforms. They became the face of these platforms. Hip-hop has been lucrative for the tech industry, so we'll share some trends to look out for as we enter into a new era of music and technology. Goldman Sachs predicts new music revenue models to hit a crescendo of $15 billion. It's not just about streaming anymore. It's about the next-gen platforms that are currently being built around what many believe to be the most important technology since electricity.
This is what we want. We want real hip-hop. One thing I will say, for these past two videos, the AI has been really, really dope. I mean, we know what's AI and what's not, but the way Papoose and his director is using the AI, which he's pretty much using the AI to put the stamp on the punchlines that he's saying. Like, if the end line is cockroach, he got the cockroach, he's stepping on him. If the end line is, is Curtis Blow, how much did Curtis blow? You know what I'm saying? He got the, a picture of Curtis Blow coming up. Like, they're using the AI for what it's being used for. It's not to take over or make the entire video AI. It's to accent the things that's happening in the song. That's how you use AI. It's complementary to what you've built. You see Papoose, he on a porch with his fatigues on, rapping. You know what I'm saying? He doing his thing. On the corner in front of the deli, rapping, and then you add the little, little pieces. Add the little AI pieces to let it complete. That's how you're supposed to use AI. Good job. Let's keep going.
There's been intermittent talks about the rise of AI in the hip-hop creative space. But with the varying opinions, I'm starting to notice that most people are using AI wrong. I feel like they're using it as the solution to the problem, rather than using it how it says to be used. It's artificial intelligence, meaning that you can teach it how to treat you. So in saying that, this is what happened when I decided to try to teach my Gemini app how to treat me.
Here's where I establish my why and my what, the method to my madness, so to speak. Here's how I present the different ways I use my voice so it has more to glean from, a variety pack. Here's where it made its assessments. Pause if you must, but it's worth the read. This assessment had me like, whoa, because it's the Wayne Stephen voice, like that's the voice I use the most often. Here's where I shared my sense of humor, again, teaching it how to treat you.
So I feel like the assessments was correct. You could give it a try. I mean, listen, we can't complain about the things that we don't give an accurate opportunity to teach us something. If we do it and it doesn't contribute, then we could toss it. But we can't toss it before even trying it. I don't know if I should pause that. I'm not gonna, because I'm a grown man, but I'm gonna pause it because I'm immature.
You know, everyone's worried about the impacts of AI on mental health. And there are definitely cases where people have like emotionally leaned on AIs to the point where things get kind of crazy towards the end. And there's evidence that shows that basically the more you talk to an AI, the deeper you go into a conversation, the weirder the AI becomes. So the first 5 questions that you ask an AI about your mental health will be like pretty okay. But then if you ask 50 questions, 52 questions, 53 questions, the deeper into a conversation you go, the less data the AI has. Because all these AIs are trained on the internet, and the internet is usually surface level conversation. So people will sort of worry about that. But actually the impact that I'm the most concerned about in terms of AI and mental health is not some hypothetical impact, but is the very real impact of how AI affects people's jobs and livelihoods.
Here's what you need to know about AI psychosis in 20 seconds. AI psychosis is an informal term for feeling confused, anxious, or paranoid after using AI. While AI can't trigger psychosis on its own, experts warn it can trigger psychotic-like experiences in people who are already vulnerable. Heavy use of AI tools can make false information feel real, reinforce paranoid thoughts, or cause you to choose a chatbot over real-world connections. Early signs of psychosis can be subtle and can include neglecting your daily routine, social withdrawal, or feelings of anxiety. To stay grounded, try to view AI as a collaborator, not a source of truth, and make sure to prioritize real-world time with real people.
So I completely understand why people are turning to ChatGPT, Claude, and other AI bots for therapy. It's quick, it's available 24/7, and it feels like someone's listening. But if you're going to use AI for mental health, I want you to know about some significant gaps before you continue. Hello, my name is Dr. Raquel Martin. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, professor, scientist, and podcast host. And if you're here, you're here to learn. So let's talk about the growing trend of people using AI bots for therapy and some key gaps to be aware of before you continue. First, the privacy gap. ChatGPT is not your therapist. What you share isn't protected the way it would be in a real therapy session. Companies can store your conversations, and that data may be used to train future models, among other things. And a licensed therapist, on the other hand, is legally and ethically bound to keep your information private. We're not losing our licenses for anybody. We worked hard for them. Second, the safety gap. Studies from Stanford show that AI chatbots can misread crises. In one case, when someone hinted at suicide, a bot actually gave them details about the highest bridges in New York. That's not just unhelpful, it's dangerous. A human therapist would pause, create a safety plan, and get you connected with real support. And third, the skill gap. AI can sound warm and supportive, but it can't build a true therapeutic alliance. It doesn't pick up on body language or tone shifts or deeper context. It won't push back when you're thinking terms harmful, and it can't intervene if your life is at risk. Those are skills only trained professionals can bring to the table. And I want to be clear. I take this incredibly seriously because beyond privacy and safety, there are bigger implications. AI models are built and powered through systems that have environmental costs, and research has shown the development of these tools can reinforce systemic inequities, including environmental racisms. Plus, if we over-rely on AI for reflection and decision-making, it can significantly decrease our critical thinking and problem-solving skills over time. That's not something that we should ignore. So here's the thing. Take that in and take that information and decide whether you're going to use it. The right use is to treat AI like a tool for information, not therapy. It can help you brainstorm coping strategies and journaling prompts and explain mental health concepts in plain language, but it should never replace a therapist, especially if you're in crisis.
Surprising number of people are using AI for therapy. Some surveys say that more than half of regular ChatGPT users have turned to chatbots for emotional support. And I get why. It feels kind of good to be mirrored. Feels good to have a language handed back to you in a way that makes sense. But here's the thing, AI can only mimic understanding. Its best skill set is pattern matching, so it can sound wise or comforting in ways that reflect your own language. What it cannot do is modulate your nervous system. Your nervous system calms through breath, through tone, through pacing, through the subtle cues that pass between two living beings. That is co-regulation, that is biology, that is mammal to mammal. AI can help you name what you're feeling, can help make sense of your inner world, but the actual shift, the settling, the softening, the regulation comes from real bodies in real time and from learning how to self-regulate. AI can make you feel understood, but it cannot make you feel safe.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tech for Your Mental Part 2, where I talk about mental health tools that you can use to talk about your feelings instead of ChatGPT. I'm Shruti and I'm a psychology graduate and I've been a conversational AI designer for about 8 years now. Today, I want to talk about Wysa. Wysa is a free and anonymous mental health AI tool that you can download on the App Store. It uses evidence-based techniques like CBT, and it's mostly for people who aren't really ready for therapy yet, but they want something a little bit more than just a classic meditation app. And one thing's for sure, it's definitely better than ChatGPT. Wysa is for people who are new to exploring their feelings, they haven't been to therapy, and they probably experience mild to moderate stress on a day-to-day basis. They probably also value structure over depth. It's not for people who are deeply feeling, have rich inner worlds, or are highly sensitive. It's also not for people who are processing complex, layered feelings or systemic or existential fears. That being said, Wysa has a lot of room for improvement. So for one, it definitely didn't help set boundaries. I'm a very deeply feeling person and I tend to over-empathize. And instead of Wysa telling me to set some boundaries, it encouraged me to continue to empathize and support that person even more instead of taking a step back and taking care of myself. It also asked repetitive questions that were not very deep or not very reflective. The tone of Wysa felt a little bit performative, and it was also a little bit tone deaf when it came to really deep, nuanced, and emotional issues. For example, I was talking to it about ICE and about the emotional stress that I was going through, watching what's happening on the news, watching what's happening in my community, and Wysa was basically just like, that sounds distressing. Wysa is also not great at telling people that it's not a therapist and to seek professional help. So for example, if you ask it like, do I have autism or do I have whatever, insert mental illness here, it kind of just ignores it and moves on. It doesn't address it. It doesn't set a boundary by saying like, hey, you should talk to a mental health professional. It also ends up over indexing on action over understanding. So it always tries to get you to kind of perform an action rather than taking the time to really understand what you're going through. One thing that was also really frustrating was that it has no memory or continuity about what you talked about in previous conversations. In addition to the conversational AI chatbot, it also curates short daily plans for you that unlock at different times of the day, which I did think was pretty cool, but it was a little bit unclear as to how they came up with the daily plan. Like, is it based on the past conversations that you had, your mood? Like, so that was a little bit unclear, but I did like that feature. So the bottom line is that Wysa is definitely better than ChatGPT because it's more reflective and it also doesn't assume how you're feeling. But yeah.
Like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, this probably sound like some weird shit, but I get lit by myself, bro.
Yeah.
And write music, bro, and sit in the car, bro. Feel me, and listen to music. But when I was younger, I used to call sister, bro. Like, they really kept me, like, you feel me? Or I talked to one of the homies, you feel me? Like, and I don't know, I feel like we just strong-minded, you feel me? Like, yeah, I'm gonna be fucked up about it, you feel me? I ain't gonna lie, but I'll be like, man, I'm alive.
What pushes you to keep going? Just that you're still here?
Yeah, I'm alive. Like, there's a lot of people that's not making it, you feel me? So, like, and then just sometimes you gotta tell yourself, like, man, you gonna be all right, man, you gonna be good. It's another day, man, we gonna get this shit. So that's why I tell myself, like, you feel me? Because a lot of niggas, real shit, bro, I ain't gonna lie, it's a lot of niggas, bro, like I said, they'll never make it in either of our position. Like, this shit is really hard to do, and people do not understand that shit until you do it. Like, one thing I learned,
I wasn't good enough for anything. Like, whatever I did, I just wasn't good enough. And, yeah, man, it's a psychological thing, I think, that for anybody who doesn't feel, who feels like that, right? Like, I just feel like I'm worthless. I'm not nothing in this world. Anybody who feels that and then finds something that they're actually good at, it's like I think that's what makes somebody go for that so hard.
The man, you in movies, you rich, you got a this and a that, but you still dealing with me fighting depression and stuff like that.
Yeah, but that's because of where I grew up at, PTSD. A lot of us have it, but we didn't know what to call it.
You know what I mean?
A lot of us had it.
So what is it like to navigate something like that when Picture of Method Man is what it is, right? Like,
it's hard. I find solace in just being myself and not trying to live up to anybody's expectations, but it does bother me at times. I have episodes. It's like I've been dealing with it for so long. I know what it feels like when it's coming. So there's really no solution you can have. You just have to kind of like deal with it and ride this shit out. I say look for love, not from other people, but within yourself. And that kind of helps. But it's all about taking care of your temple. And if you're taking care of your temple, not only are you doing something, you know, for yourself, but you're also taking the time out to consider your health, taking the time out to consider being.
AI mental health tools are everywhere now, and I understand the appeal. They're available at 2 a.m., and they don't judge you, and they don't charge you by the hour. That part is attractive, but here's the important distinction. Support is not the same as treatment. A chatbot can help you organize your thoughts or practice a coping skill, but therapy is more than supportive responses. A therapist evaluates risks, notices patterns that you may not see, challenges avoidance, and understands context. And that context matters. If someone is depressed, manic, psychotic, suicidal, or in an abusive relationship, the wrong kind of reassurance can make things worse. So use AI carefully. It can help you reflect, prepare questions, or write down what you're feeling, but don't let it replace qualified care when you need clinical support. A tool can be useful, but it shouldn't become your entire support system.